Greetings, Minions and today I'm going to be showing you one of the best faith-build weapons in Elden Ring's DLC. I say one, not the best, because this weapon is acquired at the end of the game in the DLC, at an area called Inner Ilum. To acquire this weapon, we have to travel to Inner Ilum at the Spiral Rise Site of Grace. Of course, you can acquire this from the First Rise as well, but I recommend you do it after you do this area. So, we're going to head east here. Watch out, there might be some enemies here that can deal some damage. If you already have this weapon, you feel free to skip using the timestamps down below. And we're gonna go to this railing right here, and we're gonna drop down right there. And then we're going to roll very carefully towards this ledge, once again, very carefully. And we're slowly going to walk towards this ledge. I'm sprint jumping here, but you don't have to. And just feel free to just jump down. At some point you'll encounter this body. All we have to do is jump and press R2 for heavy attack. And we're almost there. So from here, we are looking for the right side. Right here, there's an elevator. We're gonna clear out this area. And we're gonna continue going here. Take him out. And we're gonna continue onwards. And there will be one last elevator. There will be a double doors. Open the double doors and you will find the Euporia right here. And that's how you get it. I am currently using the two-handed sword talisman, which boosts my attack power when two-handing a weapon by 15% or so. The Shard of Alexander, which boosts my attack power of skills by 20%. Millicent's prosthesis, acquired by killing Millicent, which boosts dexterity, but also raises attack power with successive attacks. And the Axe Talisman, which enhances my charge attacks. So this weapon becomes a D in Strength, D in Dexterity, and B in Faith when fully upgraded at +10 with Somber Stones. The attributes required are 16 Strength, 16 Dexterity, and 24 Faith. Now this weapon's passive attack or passive ability is called Luster. So you build up Luster on your weapon, causing it to increase its damage and its damage output when you use your Ash of War. And I'll show you what that means in a second. So at 70 Faith and 80 Dexterity plus 5 with Millicent's prosthesis, I am dealing 1,507 damage. So keep that in mind, okay? So we'll be checking that out. So for this build, I recommend very high mind, very high endurance. So at least 30-30, but 40 is recommended for mind, in my opinion. Faith, at least 70. Strength and dexterity should be around 40-50 both, or 80 on either dex or strength, whatever you desire. These are my stats and it's working perfectly. But of course, if you want to optimize this build, I suggest you spread out your points in strength and dexterity. So 50-50 would work out better than just 85 dexterity. But this is just what character I have to show you that it doesn't have to be a perfect build. Alright, so let's build up some luster. My weapon will continuously become gold as I hit enemies. Now mind you, I am using Millicent's prosthesis, which will boost my attack. Already plus 200 attack. That's a big deal, isn't it? Now the weapon is almost fully charged. I need one more hit right here. Now the weapon is fully charged. And it has become 2,000 damage when fully upgraded with Millicent's prosthesis. But you have to be careful though, because this doesn't make you invincible, of course. Now let's try what happens when you use the Ash of War or the skill when fully charged. And you can hold it for as much as you want. And that will use up all of the luster, so you have to build it up again. It is an amazing, amazing weapon. So I recommend you run around with at least 2 flasks of Cerulean Tears, but of course, use however many you need. I like running with 2 or at least 4 if I'm doing summoning. Now let's test it against a mini boss. Now I've combined these tiers in my flask, the deflecting heart tier and the stone bard crack tier, which should be able to take out pretty much any boss in the game, including the final one. You can combine this weapon with Golden Vow and Flame Grant Me Strength, of course, if you want to deal even more damage. And just like that, one of the hardest enemies in the game has been dealt with. So of course, the deflecting heart tier deserves its own video, but you can essentially block any attack if you time it correctly. Additionally, you can replace the Axe Talisman with the Blessed Dew Talisman, which allows you to regenerate FP by just existing. So your FP will go up automatically if you have this talisman. You can acquire the talisman in the DLC very early on at one of the churches in the first area. You can find more information about that in the description down below. Now, I want to say that this weapon was designed for an NG Plus run, which is why it's so good. So please consider doing an NG Plus run of the entire game only using this weapon, and you will see that it is an actually very unique experience compared to your first playthrough, and I promise you that. So, I tried it in PvP, but I couldn't get any clips. This weapon is mediocre in PvP. I'm sure other skilled players will find it useful or find a way to adapt to it, but Faith is not always the best experience in PvP from my experience, unless you're doing something like Frenzy or something like that. But you can combine this weapon with Golden Vow, Flame Grant Me Strength, and get a massive boost. So let's check out how much of a boost you get with incantations. So, with my current stats, which are all over the place, I deal 1507 damage. Now let's see how well it performs with Golden Vow, while two-handing it, of course. 1733. Flame Grant Me Strength. I go up to 1881. And with Millicent's Prosthesis, 1956. Lastly, of course, needless to say, this weapon performs amazingly against Radahn, the final boss of the game, of the DLC, if you know how to use it. So, I combined it with the Deflecting Heart tier and the Stone Bard Crack tier, and all of these talismans that I showed you before. Of course, this will play out differently in your game, depending on your own skill, so you still have to learn the game and apply your own knowledge to it. It will not win the game for you, but it will certainly make it a different experience and slightly more easy. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like, check out my other guides. I did a bunch of guides for Elden Ring and other games. I love making build videos, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe, leave a comment down below to help with the algorithm or to just share your thoughts, and I will see you in the next one.